don't want any setbacks, so this will be a slow, gradual process. But it'll be good to get him out there.
Just having his leadership out on the practice field with the team help.
Yeah, and he's been around the team. He just necessarily hasn't been out on the field, but it'll be good to get him back, with the guys.
Given your choice of words, slow, gradual process, what would you put it his odds to play on Sunday?
Not a betting man. Can't do that.
You just have to establish.
I can't
the
put
odds.
odds.
You don't have to bet.
Right now he's just day to day. Yeah, we just got to see where he is at the end of the week.
What does it say about him, just the way he's attacked the rehab process to even put himself in this position?
I mean, he knew, I think, in his mind that shooting for Week 18 or hopefully round one of the postseason if so be. So it just shows the type of person that he is and the care for the team.
You expect Trevor to try to be a limited participant in practice or more?
A little bit more of a limited, basis today. He is feeling better. Again, he's another one that's kind of day to day as we go this week.
What have you seen from Ryan Tannehill? He's going to be starting for the Titans this week.
Well, obviously, Will Levis has played majority of the season for them. But early in the year, obviously he's a veteran guy. I mean, veteran quarterback. He's smart. You saw him last week, just getting the ball out of his hand. He's smart. He knows where to go with the football. Obviously, he relies on that run game, to get that going, and they had some success last week, a little bit doing that, and in the couple of games that he played early in the season. So, you just expect that from him. A veteran guy that is just going to run their offense.
And these rivalry kind of games, especially with as much as this team has on the line, you're going to get the best shot from the Titans too, right?
You always do. I mean, my goodness, you just go back to last year, Week 18. Came down to everything for both teams, really, and it was a tough game right to the end, and it's going to be no different. The AFC South, rivalry type games, there's a lot to be playing for, on both sides, really, quite honestly. It doesn't matter who's out there playing. They're going to play hard. We're going to play hard. It's going to be a physical football game like it always is, and you got to prepare that way.
Could you talk a little bit about the impact of this game for your tenure here? Getting a back-to-back division title if you win the game, and regardless of what happens in the postseason, I would think as a coach you want to continue that string and put together a string of postseason runs because it also helps in free agency, it helps the culture, just everything.
All that does. You look at the history of the AFC South. I mean, it's been dominated by Tennessee of late. Houston's had their run. Indy, obviously, back in the Peyton days. I mean, they had their run of AFC South, and I think Jags have only had two. So we're trying to make our mark. Obviously, it's a great division. You got great teams in there, great coaches and leaders, and good football players, and so. For us to be in this position again, second year, I mean, it's a credit to our players in the locker room, coaching staff to work as hard as we do, and the players to work as hard as they do.
I want to bring up one point with you going back to your days in Philly. Everybody, of course, remembers your Super Bowl run, but there was a continuation there. You came back the following year, won a playoff game, came back the year after that, went to the playoffs. I mean, how much do you think that stuff matters? That it's not just a one and done thing.
Well, I think there's when you're talking about our team and our players, I think they see that and they recognize that from me, right? The places that I've been, and so for there's credibility, I guess, let's call it, in the locker room with the guys, and so when you say certain things, you're speaking from experience. And so I think that can go a long way with these guys. We've got a young team, eager to win and their desire to win. And so all of that can just help us, this year, next year, and however long that goes.
Doug, do you know all the playoff scenarios for you guys, or do you just focus on the?
There's only one.
That's the
There's only one. There's only one that matters right now for us.
So is that what you told the team?
Yeah, you won't tell.
I mean, that's all I need to tell the team. There's nothing other than trying to win this game on Sunday.
From a ten.
Is that just make things so much simpler, and you're not giving them too much in their heads?
I'm not going to cloud their mind with stuff. Obviously, our focus is trying to beat, Tennessee, and regardless of records and who's playing, who's not playing, this is always a really good football game, and it's a 4-quarter game, and that's our focus right now.
What is it about Mike Vrabel teams that, like, people always say that they're like, Mike Vrabel teams are coached different. From your perspective as the opposing head coach, what is it about his teams?
I've known Mike for a lot of years, and I knew him as a player, with New England, and he's been raised in this league the right way, and he's been on championship teams, and I think being a former player and being in those positions, he's been able to use that, again, much like my experience here, in a positive way for them. And obviously a defensive guy, and just a lot of he's had a lot of great defensive players, and there's a level of intensity and physicality with Tennessee and Mike's teams over the years, and he's done a nice job. And again, it's regardless of where they might be right now or whatever the situation. I mean, these guys are going to play hard for Mike, and Mike's going to do everything he can to win this game, and his teams always feed off of that, and it's a credit to what he's done there.
Hey, Doug, do you, having been in this situation last year, do you feel better about how your team's mindset is going into this game, since it's not their first time being in a win and they're in kind of deal, even though there's a little wiggle?
Yeah, being and having gone through it, you know what to expect. The level of intensity, and again, but it just boils down to having a good Wednesday, a good Thursday, good Friday. Stringing some good practices together and understanding the game plan and going to play. I mean, this year's way different than last year, even though it's the similarities of coming down to week 18, are similar for us, but we just have to just continue to trust the things that we're doing, and as coaches, we trust our players and put them in positions to be successful on game day.
You mentioned stringing together some good practices. I think Josh Allen said he felt like last week was the best practice they had all year. Can you tell just how focused the team is when you see them out on the practice field throughout the week?
You can tell just how they attack the practice, where they are mentally, the energy level, all those kinds of things, even this late in the season, here at the end. And it pays off, and this is when you lean on your leadership of the team, obviously, to drive that and to motivate that. But yeah, it was a good week last week. We got to do the same or even more this week.
Does your team have a big game mentality? You did last year, for sure. But some of the big games on the schedule this year haven't gone your way. Do they have the right big game mentality going into the biggest game of the season?
You're right in the sense that we haven't performed well in the big game yet. And these are the things that I keep stressing to our team. Expect to be in big games, right? Expect to be in these types of football games, in these types of moments where there's maybe a little added pressure, and you kind of feel that pressure. And we haven't handled that extremely well this year. But listen, one thing about this team, as you guys know, they come out and play hard when their back's against the wall a little bit. They seem to find comfort in that. But I'll keep talking to them, and we'll get it figured out.
Was the win against Carolina an example of that? I mean, backs against the wall. If you lose, potentially you're not even playing for a playoff spot this week. Was that sort of the big game mentality you wanted to see?
Of course, to come out and play as well. Wasn't perfect, but to play well, and defense played really good. CJ stepping up like he did, and filling in, and the offensive line in the second half, kind of taking control there, and in the run game, so it's steps in the right direction. Yeah.
What does that do for the confidence? I mean, you're headed into the postseason potentially. Just the confidence at this time of the year.
Well, I mean, before Carolina, you would say that our confidence was shaken a little bit, right? 4-game skid, and a win can help get your confidence back, and so definitely we needed that. We needed that win to be in this position in Week 18. So it does give you a little confidence, but yet you still got to put in the work. You got to put in the time this week, and you treat each game as if it's a playoff game.
If you do need CJ this week, does it help his confidence that he played last week, has a win under his belt? Does that go a long way with the backup?
Yeah, it helps with him, helps with the team. Just knowing how he operates, in game.
What did you see from Tyson? I know we talked last week about the gradual, his getting his sea legs back under him.
Yeah.
What did you see from him? And then, of course, going up against DeAndre Hopkins, who, despite a 5-win team, is over 1,000 yards, somehow, some way again.
Yeah, number one, D-Hop, great receivers, had a great career so far, and he's done some really good things there, and the reason why they got him, obviously. And on Tyson, he did play better last week, and they had some good receivers last week, and Shark and Thielen and the guys there. So it'll be interesting again. He's taking progressive steps. Obviously, this will be big for him. He came out healthy, which helps his confidence moving forward. But the challenge again is to go out and do it again.
Do you feel like you're going to run back the offensive lineup you had last week, or is that still a fluid situation?
Still fluid. Cam was good, wasn't great. He can improve. Shatley was good. The offensive line as a whole was good. I think with Ezra and Walker getting healthier, we'll see how it goes. This week in practice and have a better feel for that towards the end of the week.
On the same tip, Zay,
Zay will be out there today, and hopefully, he's in a day-to-day mode again. But he's better than he was last week. So I would anticipate him doing more in practice.
Is there anybody else that came out of the game a little nicked up?
Jamal is the only one that obviously, but no. Trayvon, everybody's just kind of sore. CJ's sore. All the guys are beat up right now. It's just the way it is. Week 18, it's been a long year.
Do you anticipate guys pushing themselves and pushing their rehab a little bit harder, a little bit faster, given the stakes and where you're at in the season?
I don't think they do it. I mean, your body heals how your body heals. But this time of year, it's more important that you take care of yourself more, right? Meaning getting rest at night. I think the proper hydration, nutrition, all that stuff plays a part in your body and healing. And guys do take advantage of the extra time that I give them during the week to, use all the amenities downstairs to make sure their bodies are as fresh as possible on Sunday.
I know you brought him up just because he's sore, but Trayvon, 9 sacks now, him and Josh 25.5. I asked Smooth post-game, so I'll ask you, for those who question Trayvon, for you as his head coach, what does him being at this moment in his young career mean to you?
Yeah, both of those guys really, speaking on Josh first, I think he's third in the NFL right now at 16.5 and just a half sack away, from being up there, and he's done a great job for us this year. And Trayvon, it just, you just see the gradual improvement, and you're seeing him, move around a little bit more on the front, games and stunts, and he's just the game's evolving. He's a young player that continues to learn, and to see him where he's at, and what he's done this year, I think the sky's the limit still, for him, and he can, I know Josh has made the comment that hopefully Trayvon breaks his record, and I think he's on the right track to possibly do that at some point.
I know he didn't like it, but do you think Trevor got anything out of watching from the sideline? Does that help him in any way?
I think he did. I think it definitely helps a guy like Trevor, your quarterback, who you're seeing the game with a little bit calmer, that 30,000-foot perspective. He sees things differently, how he would handle situations, So yeah, there's definitely things that I think he took away that he can definitely use the next time he gets an opportunity.
Like the need to maybe slide a little more. I'm assuming you got a hold of CJ about that too.
I was yelling, but he didn't hear me.
All right,
When did you first get wind of Josh and Trayvon moving inside? Was this something that Mike brought up to you last week, or did you suggest it to him?
I mean, it's something that he and I we've talked about it, for a few weeks, and just, you try to put your best players in situations to be successful and help your team, and it's a little different look for our defense, to put those two guys inside like that, So yeah, he and I we've been having some conversations in the last few weeks.
I like putting that thing in the opponent's head.
Well, I mean, it's no different than them putting stuff on tape that we have to work on, right? So, vice versa. If we see something, we have to work on it. If they see something, they got to work on it and be prepared as well.
Do you have to expect everything this week, given that they have nothing? They have nothing to lose, right? It's like empty the bag in terms of trick plays, everything.
You've got to be so disciplined. Your eyes have got to be in the right spots. You can't go chasing plays. You make the ones that come to you. They'll have opportunities. They did in the first game, right? A little flea flicker type pass that got us, and just things like that. You just have to be, you got to be so focused and dialed in, with games like this.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks.